Video cameras come in all shapes and sizes. In fact, there are so many different makes and models, it can be really confusing what to buy. The more you spend, the better the image, but the more complex it is to use. Simple ones are reliable. There are so many choices. One of the questions I get asked all the time is, what's the best camera for shooting my web videos? It's a tough question to answer because everybody has different needs and cameras come in a broad range of costs and quality. Perhaps the best way to answer that question is to compare apples to apples. Let's look at 6 types of cameras that are commonly used for shooting web videos. The cameras chosen for this demonstration are typical for web video. We have a professional camera, a DSLR, a smartphone, a consumer HDV camera, a tablet, and a flip camera. To create a fair comparison, all of the cameras are pointed at the same subject, recording at the same time. Let's start by looking at image quality. At the top of the camera food chain, we have the Pro camera and the digital single-lens reflex camera. What makes them different from the other 4 are lens quality and the image sensor. In other words, the subject is in focus and properly exposed. As expected, this is good video. As we go down in price, the picture gets softer. This is true with the consumer camera, the iPhone, and the flip. The tablet is not only softer, but much wider than the other cameras. To use this as a camera, you'll need to be very close to your subject for a well-framed image. The next thing to look at is how the camera handles difficult lighting. This situation is typical for many web videos, with a mixture of artificial light and daylight, and bright windows in the background. While typical, this is a really hard setting for many cameras to handle. One advantage to using a higher quality camera is the ability to manually adjust the exposure. Both the Pro camera and the DSLR are manually adjusted for good exposure on our subject's face. The consumer camera's automatic exposure struggles between the bright windows and the darker room. The flip camera is the least successful, exposing for the bright windows, resulting in a silhouette. The third consideration is a camera's image using only the room's available light. Turning off our television lights forces each camera to adjust to the brightest thing in the frame. The 4 lower-cost cameras are constantly and automatically adjusting the exposure to what each thinks is correct. This usually results in boring, backlit, and flat images. Finally, your audience has to hear your story to understand it. Our subject is wearing a lapel microphone plugged into a digital recorder.
A chance to spend some time with my son as well.
But listen instead to each of the 6 camera mics.
So we take a walk, we throw the chuck it. The dog loves to chase the ball. I like to bring him to a particular park where there's a beach. He doesn't like to swim. He won't
None of them are very good. The sound echoes because the camera mic picks up reverberation in the room.
But he loves the water.
It's important you choose a camera that allows you to plug in an external microphone. No matter what camera you use, ultimately it's a balancing act of compromises. Simplicity versus image control, cost versus convenience. A great camera you leave in the office is nothing more than a doorstop. Choose a camera that makes you comfortable and that you'll use, and practice with it to get the most out of your investment.
Which I kind of like still.